So about 8 years ago, I was working with an executive team member who needed to do some process confirmation on the lettings process. And she was reading the documented process that the team had and was going off on one a bit about the fact that 2 lettings officers went to each empty property in order to measure up and get the property specs in order to put the property out to advert. And so rather than jumping to conclusions or trying to interfere in the process, we went and did some process confirmation. Now, this was a bit heavy-handed because there was me coaching her and then there was her doing the process confirmation and these 2 lettings officers that were measuring the property. And we got there and they carried out their work and we were having a chat, and then one of the lettings officers started leaping across the room in great big strides. And the exec team member, she turned away from me and went, "Sorry, what are you 2 doing? What on earth is this lunacy?" Now, quick side note, when you're doing process confirmation, ideally you just make notes and you do a debrief afterwards. You don't interfere with what people are doing. It's the observation of the process in action. But that wasn't her style, unfortunately. And for the purposes of this story, it was good that this happened. And the lettings officer said, "Oh, don't worry. We sort of know that one of her strides is exactly 1 metre, so we can get a pretty good measurement of the room this way." And I mean, we both looked perplexed, but she said, "Well, where's your digital tape measure? Where's your digital tape measure, the things you need to do this job?" And they said, "Well, your predecessor had said there was no budget for any more equipment in our team and told us just to make do with what we had." So it turns out this is the reason that they were going out in pairs, because one of them did the leaping, the other one did the measurements, and there was a few other things like this that were just bizarre. So the executive team member, she whipped out her iPad. This was when they just had iPads, really, and said, "Am I going to see any more of this lunacy while we're out and about?" And they said, "Well, we only have 1 fireman key in the whole team, so we have to pass that between us if we need to access the communal sort of cupboards in our blocks of flats." So she got out her iPad, ordered the digital tape measures for every team member, more fireman keys, and that was that sort of solved. But had she not done the process confirmation, had she tried to interfere in the process in another way, you wouldn't have got the same outcome. So it's the go and see of a process is more unstructured than process confirmation, which is where you have a documented standard and you go and see that people are following it, identify improvements, and get that peace of mind.